So we're going to look at another group of reptiles and talking about what is a crocodile. So when we talk about them as a group generally, we're talking about the order Crocodilia. Again, this translates to lizard, but they aren't considered lizards. It's a separate group of reptiles. When we look at this group collectively, we're talking about alligators, crocodiles, gavials, like down here, the ones with the really slender snout, and caimans, which are part of the same group as alligators whenever we start subdividing Crocodilia up more. These animals have differences in their skull from other reptiles. Again, even though they look very lizard-like, if we look at basically the structure of the skull, it is still different from other reptiles. They also have a four-chambered heart, which is the only time that we see this among what we classify as reptiles. So with regard to reproduction, males have a single medial penis, and the males defend territories and go through mating rituals. So again, crocodilians are fairly social in terms of their interactions with one another with regard to mating. Temperature can affect the sex of a developing egg, so again, depending on how warm or cold it is in the nest, that'll help determine whether or not the offspring ends up being male or female whenever it hatches. And then females often exhibit maternal care, so it's pretty common that we'll see females defending nests as well as many other maternal behaviors. So again, if you're looking at this presentation on Classroom, these video links will give you a little bit more insight into some of these pieces. This part shows a fight between two male alligators on a golf course. This video here from BBC Earth shows a study that was related to the bellowing noises that male alligators make when they establish territories and do actually create a little water dance with their vibrations in the water. So it's pretty neat to see. And then these last two videos here show, both with crocodiles and with caimans, the ability for mom to help take care of the babies, transport them in her mouth, basically examples of that maternal care, that motherly care. When we start talking about the Crocodilia diet, they are carnivorous. They're pretty strict in that sense. Their mouth is designed to catch prey in sweeps in the water, so again, having that long structure, they can sweep it around in the water and clamp down on what they want to eat. The teeth grab the prey. The teeth don't actually break the prey down into smaller pieces, so they have to swallow food whole. They don't use the teeth for any kind of chewing. They do have a flap of tissue near the back of the tongue that prevents swallowing water when they're swallowing prey, so they can swallow prey underwater, no problem. They have what's called a nictitating membrane on the eyes to help them see underwater. Again, it kind of works like a pair of goggles. They also will swallow small stones, which we call gastroliths. Gastro meaning stomach, lith meaning stone. They have those in the stomach to help them break down food. So again, they can't chew it down with those teeth, but they do have these structures that they use to help break down food into smaller pieces. So again, these videos just kind of show some examples. Here, this is a feeding of Indian gharials at the Bronx Zoo. It kind of shows that slender snout and how well it's designed for taking fish, even though it looks pretty fragile. This one shows the famous death roll. When we think about crocodiles hunting in the wild, that's what we're looking at here is the way that they'll turn with their prey in the water. This video shows that flap of tissue that's just beyond, kind of near the back of the throat to help with preventing water from cutting into those parts. And this shows the nictitating membrane. It's basically a video of a crocodile just blinking with that membrane, and then it's slowed down again. So again, that kind of helps to show what that looks like. As far as locomotion goes, Crocodilia do move better in water, but they are suitable on land. They can move around on land when they need to. They have partially webbed feet, which you can kind of see here with the back feet of the alligators that are hanging out here in the water. Again, helps with paddling with those back feet when they need to, even though that may not be the most common method of moving around. They have a laterally compressed tail. So again, if you think about it's fat toward the body, but as you get further and further down, it gets more narrow. So it's almost like an oar that helps them to move forward in the water. And they can do what's called a high walk. So when they kind of use their limbs to help push their body up more than most other reptiles do, it kind of helps them to move a little bit faster despite their really large body size. So these videos here one of them shows an alligator swimming in the water, again, mostly using the tail for locomotion in that case. And then this one has an alligator walking, so again, demonstrating that high walk that they can utilize as well. When we start talking about defense mechanisms that crocodilia have, this, again, most people think about, well, they're really big and tough anyway. Who would want to mess with them? But at different stages in their life, they do need these defense mechanisms to help protect them. They have tough scales with what we call osteoderm, so these little bumps that are in the skin. Osteoderm, osteo means bone, and derm means skin, so it's literally basically like little pieces of bone that are embedded in the skin to help reinforce that skin and make it a lot more tough. They have, of course, their impressive jaws with replaceable teeth, so if they do lose them in a conflict or when they're gathering prey, they can regrow those teeth, so they still have them as an impressive weapon. And that muscled tail, besides helping them swim in the water, they can use that to smack something that's threatening them, and again, it's a pretty powerful tool for self-defense if they need it. So again, I hope that this clarifies a little bit more about crocodilia as a group in general. Again, among reptiles, we see some developments like the four-chambered heart and that social behavior that make them a little bit more similar to organisms like birds that we can compare them to. But I hope that this clarifies kind of where they fall into as far as what makes them different from other reptiles.